Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories Podcast, People Helping People. I'm Shara Goswick, your host. My guest today is Matthew Kenslow. Matthew is an author, but he is also an autism awareness advocate. Matthew was diagnosed with autism at a young age, and he is an incredible young man. I really had a hard time separating my mom hat from my interviewer hat today because I am just so impressed with him. I respect him and admire him for the work that he has put in to do what he's doing. And most importantly, I love that he is sharing what it's like to live with autism. This is something that unless you have it, you can't fully explain it. We can learn about it, we can read about it, but unless you're living with it, you don't really understand. And if you've listened to me for a while, you know that I have a son with autism. He cannot explain the things that Matthew can explain. And so I so appreciate what Matthew is doing. This was a great interview. If you know someone this would encourage, I ask you to send it to them after this, but please go follow him on social media and on YouTube. What he is putting out, the content he's putting out is incredible. And I am so glad that you're here.
Matthew, I have been looking forward to talking to you for, I don't know when it was I emailed you first. It might have been a couple of months ago, but I have been looking forward to this since I accidentally found you on YouTube. I wasn't looking for anything and I saw your videos. I am a podcast host. I do ask questions, but I'm also a mom who has a son with autism. And so I can't have a conversation with him like I'm having with you today. And so to me, this is like gold. You don't know how happy this makes my heart that I get to talk to you. And, you know, you're very different than my son, just like every person is different. It's not that I'm comparing the two of you, but I would love to be able to talk to my son the way I can talk to you today. So thank you for being a guest today and sharing everything you're going to share with me. I'm super excited.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I kind of want to go back to the beginning, just because I want to know what you remember about your diagnosis. I know you're an author now, you're substitute teaching, you're doing all these things, but in the very beginning, do you remember when you were diagnosed? Do you remember what life was like at that time?
Yeah, I was diagnosed circa 2001 when I was about 6 years old. Before that, I was diagnosed with a speech delay when I was 3. And as a result, they put me in the preschool intervention program. And I definitely have hundreds of memories from preschool to second grade.
Yeah.
And I remember I hated speech class in preschool, but I loved it after.
Yeah.
So, the 3 years of special day classes, kindergarten to second grade, it was about 8 or 10 people, students, but they placed me and a couple of other students in a gen ed class with about 2 to 3 times more people to see how I would do. And in 3rd grade, they mainstreamed me, so I went to another school and was in a gen ed class, but I still had pullouts for speech therapy and special ed.
Yeah. What did you not like about speech therapy you said in the beginning?
But it was only for preschoolers because they took me out of playtime
Oh.
to go there. That's why.
I got you. It wasn't the therapy, it was getting not getting the doing what you wanted to do. That's too funny. And so, do you remember a time, because I know you said you had a speech delay, do you remember a time when you weren't able to verbalize what you were thinking? Do you remember knowing what you wanted to say and just not being able to do it? Or were you just not interested?
Well, I just said what was in my mind and heart, but when people started to ask me to repeat myself, especially as I got older, then I realized I need to slow down and enunciate. And then I would hear
Yeah.
myself on home videos, and it was hard to decipher what I was saying.
Yeah. But it made sense to you in your head, right? Like you just, you were like you said, you were saying what was on your mind and your heart. What were as you were growing up, and obviously you've done really well, and if they put you in a gen ed class that quickly, I mean, obviously you were doing great. But do you remember some of the challenges that you had when you were in school or even in life, not even just in school?
Yeah, there are academic challenges and social challenges. For the social challenges, that's a big one for a lot of autistics. And I just remember kindergarten, a couple of my classmates would yell at me saying, "Go away, you're not your friend, you're not playing with us." And And when I got older, I was just name called a few times. However, I did make some friends, yet it was hard for me to socialize with them because I was very nervous to socialize. And then academically, a challenge there was is that it's hard to shut my mind off. So my mind wanders,
Mhm.
my mind thinks about things all the time, and it took me longer to complete homework or to complete a test. And at the same time, I wanted to get everything correct and understood, which didn't always happen. And
Yeah.
then my teachers would talk, and um, our teachers would give instruction, and I would look at my classmates, and they seemed to understand exactly what to do, and I was lost. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that all makes a whole lot of sense to me as a mom. Now you are writing books and you just finished your third one. Is it out yet? Is it out tomorrow? Is it tomorrow the date?
yeah, tomorrow's the official
Okay.
published date.
Awesome. That's so tell me about the books you've written so far.
Well, my first one is Juggling the Issues, which I got published in 2019. Long
Awesome.
story short, and it just talks about the pros and cons of being autistic and the organizations that gave me a chance to succeed. And it's more like an anthology. And then I got into student teaching in 2022. And at the end of student teaching, I was reflecting on the journey that I've been in life and how I just never gave up on what I believe I was called to do. And so at the end of that, I wrote the second book, Unstoppable, which chronicles the journey and my adventures as a substitute teacher. And then
Awesome.
finally, my third book is The Tireless Advocate, and it's fictional this time. So
Yeah.
I already wrote two nonfiction books. I thought fictional would be fun and creative, but it's based on
That's
real life experiences.
so I read somewhere that you or the kids call you their best sub or their favorite sub. Like you are you loving it being able to do that? You loving working in the schools?
Yeah, most of them have said that in the past
Most
5
of them?
years. Yeah, so not all of them,
Not all of
but
them.
for the most part, students have been kind, friendly, accepting toward me,
That's
um,
awesome.
being autistic. But I, I give incentives, and my incentives are like card tricks and juggling and such after each task.
That's awesome. What grades are you studying? Like, what ages are you working with?
Elementary to high school, so literally from 4 to 17, 18.
Oh, wow. You're brave. You're brave. That's awesome that you're doing that, though. I think that's great. What do you wish people understood better about autism?
One of the things is just how our minds need time to process. So
Yes.
I ask society to be a bit patient, and I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of positivity in the past few years with more acceptance. But I would love it if people would be a bit more patient and explain things clearly.
Yeah. I know with my son, he does not do well with open-ended questions. Like, he does better with yes or no questions. If I ask him an open-ended question, I have to wait a while for him to think, and I completely agree with you. We're in such a fast-paced world, we want everything quickly and done, and so we want people to respond quickly, but it doesn't always work like that, and so I 100% agree with you. Were there people in your life that have encouraged you along your journey? People that maybe believed in you when you were struggling?
Yeah, there've been my family, my friends, my church family that have helped me throughout my life. I was involved in Royal Rangers, which is like a faith-based ministry. It's like Boy Scouts,
Yeah,
but it's faith-based, and
yeah.
that sort of changed my life a lot. And then you're asking a bit about the bullies in the past. I mean, I've had received that, but when I got older, surprisingly, some of those became better friends to me.
That's amazing. I'm sure your kindness helped them. I'm sure because I can just imagine you have been very kind to all of them. I wanna ask you about your faith because that is something that is difficult for my son to understand. So how does it just make sense to you? I mean, I guess have you grown up in the church? Have you grown up going to church?
Yeah, I was raised in a Christian household and
Okay.
went to a few churches growing up even at the same time. And to me, it just made sense is what I was raised with and taught. My pastor's children's pastor's family been teaching me these stories in the Bible, and as I grew older, of course, I had to read them myself and have it make sense to me and pray about it, so that I'm just not taking other people's word for it.
Right. Well, that's what everybody should do. So I'm glad that you've done that. So you have a YouTube channel also, and that's how I found you was your videos, which I think are so creative and smart. And I love that you're doing it. I love what you're doing to bring awareness to to other people about autism, that they would, like you said, understand, maybe slow down, maybe explain yourself better, maybe, give some grace when you're asking questions. But I think it's awesome that you're doing that. Have you loved making those videos?
Yeah, since 2017, 2018.
Yeah. I think it's great. Have you gotten a lot of good feedback?
Yeah, I'd say a lot. Some people that stay around for years and other people that just comment on one video. But there's a woman in Scotland that says that I'm helping her understand her son better, and she follows me to this day. And another father once left a comment saying that I'm giving him hope for his 6-year-old son. And a few years back, there's a middle schooler, I think in Arizona or New Mexico, that wanted to ask me questions. So he asked me questions about how to help his classmate better who is autistic. He wanted to know more about autism. So those are a few of many that I've received.
I think that's wonderful. I can imagine for parents that you, like for me, I mean, you do give so much hope, and I love that. Could you talk to a parent that maybe just found out their child is being diagnosed with autism? What could you tell them to encourage them today?
My number one encouragements is to continue to show care and love to the child. My mother really showed love and care to me and gave me opportunity in life. She found programs for me to try, and that includes Royal Rangers, but that also included like kids in the kitchen, so culinary. And she gave me some tips herself because she likes cooking.
Yeah.
And she also advocated for me. So that's what I would encourage is to advocate, but also perhaps teach them to advocate for themselves if they're able to when they get
Yeah.
older. And self advocacy really changed my life and really helped me in the latter half of high school and college to where I am today. And then, of
Yeah.
course, I encourage people not to do things alone, like find a support group of people that have been there, done that, or is going through that. There's a lot of advocates that I follow that have lived parental experiences on Instagram. I'm sure that there's
Wow.
communities in the community that you could go to. So those are my encouragement.
Yeah. That's very helpful. I didn't know that there were communities like that online. I wish I could have a conversation like this with my son. There's so much I wanna understand, and, I just admire you so much for what you're doing. I think that you're bringing hope to so many families, so many parents. What do you have planned ahead? But are you gonna write more books, do you think? Will you continue with your YouTube channel? What would you like to do?
Well, for sure, continue with social media and my work in the school district and my volunteerism in the churches in the county. I never thought I'd write a second book, but here I am with the third. So
Yeah.
the Lord might tell me to write a fourth, like I believed He told me to write the first three.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and then ultimately, and hopefully maybe next year, I could be a full-fledged math teacher. But even then, I'll still continue the advocacy work.
Yeah. That's so good. So math is your thing. Math is what you love to teach.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I have not asked you about? I could literally talk to you all day. I'm not even looking at my questions. I just am so impressed with you, and I admire you for what you've done. For you've worked very hard, not just in college, not just in school, but to bring awareness and to bring so much hope to people. But I want to make sure I cover everything you want to talk about. The first time you started teaching, the first time you started subbing, what did it feel like when you walked into that classroom? Were you nervous? Were you excited? Like, what were you thinking the first time you ever did that?
Excitement, but
Yeah.
with the jitters, more
Yeah.
eustress than distress. But I mean,
Yeah.
it was exciting. January 3rd, 2022 is first day student teaching. I
Yeah.
walked in and didn't know what to expect, but I was going to persevere, and the students were receptive toward me, and And after my first lesson, doing a lesson on quadratics that February, they seemed to like it. And then my first day as a sub was March 25th that year, and it was actually in that classroom, my mentor
Oh,
teacher's
wow.
classroom. So they already knew me, but when I told them it's my first day subbing, they all cheered,
Oh,
applauded.
that's awesome. I love that. I love that. Are there strengths that you see as a person with autism that maybe other people don't see them as strengths, but you believe that they are?
Yes, personally, I'd say empathy, being able
Yeah.
to feel what people go through. It's like I've been there, done that, and now I can walk people through their storms of life if they're in it, and then perseverance. And in eighth grade, that's when I learned what perseverance was. It's where you set a goal and you do whatever you can to try and meet that goal, or that's how it was defined to me. So,
Yeah.
just that resilience and not giving up disposition. I feel that those are strengths.
Yeah, those are definitely strengths. I love that. Is there any word of encouragement you could give to anyone that's listening today? Like I said, I could just ask you a million questions that you probably would not want to answer. I'm trying to keep it professional.
Yeah, I do volunteer assemblies across Orange County, and in it, I give what I call my B number one encouragement. And all it is I encourage everyone to not give up on what you want to do or who you want to be in life. And sometimes that requires patience, which is hard for a lot of us. But I found that the outcome is greater when you learn to go through things and take your time than to try to go fast around them. And for example, it took me 5 years just to get through the 2-year college, and then I encourage people to be who they are and not other people, like set standards based on what you could do and not on other people. So it's okay to look at professionals, be influenced by them, but don't try to be them, be yourself. And I believe that disability or not, anyone could do whatever they set their heart and mind to do as long as it's practical. And behind the disability, we have a heart and a mind and a purpose. So that's my encouragement.
Absolutely, I love that. You talked about, having empathy. You know, you're able to understand what people are going through. And all your volunteer work and the places where you're serving, have you been able to help other people with autism?
Yeah, I'd say so because I've gotten feedback as a person on social media, but I've also gotten feedback as a person doing assemblies or subbing. I mean,
Yeah.
there have been parents and teachers who recognize me even in the supermarket, just
Oh,
coming up
yeah.
to me saying that I subbed for their child and their child's autistic, but since that child saw me in the classroom telling my story, then they believe they could do what they set their mind to do too.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Well, Matthew, I'm so thankful I got to talk to you today. I apologize for being distracted. Like I said, I'm just a mom. I'm an interviewer, but I'm just a mom that I'm just so impressed with you and all the work that you've put into what you're doing. I do want to read your books. I'm excited about that. And I just pray that you have the best year, that you are doing above and beyond what you're expecting, even to get done this year. I just admire you so much. And I thank you for being a guest for me.
Thank you.
I will be in touch soon.
Right, sounds good.
All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Right,
Bye
thanks.
bye.
Mm.
Thanks for listening to Life Stories Podcast. There are a few ways you can support me so that I can continue putting out great content. You can like and share this episode, send it to a friend that you think might be encouraged by it, subscribe to my channel, whichever format you're listening to, and tell people about my podcast. You can also buy me a virtual coffee. The link is below and it's also at the bottom of my website. Every donation helps me continue doing what I'm doing. Thanks for being here.